The day I buried my daughter Grace, my husband Marcus was sitting in luxury, smiling somewhere I couldn't even imagine. I didn't know that yet. All I knew was, the grave was open, the prayers were ending, and the space beside me was empty. But the real shock didn't come from the funeral, it came from the message in my phone. Grace was gone, my little girl, my whole world. People stood around me offering condolences, but their words felt distant. I stared at the flowers, the dirt, the coffin lowered into the ground, trying to accept something my heart refused to accept. And Marcus wasn't there. No hand on my shoulder, no tears, no support, nothing. I kept looking at the crowd, thinking he'd arrive late, breathless, apologizing, that he'd run to me the way a father should run on the worst day of his life. But he never came. When the last prayer ended and people began walking away, I stood frozen beside Grace's grave like my body had forgotten how to move. I didn't cry anymore. I had cried too much already. Now there was only numbness. Then my phone vibrated in my pocket. For 1 second, I actually believed it was Marcus. My hand shook as I pulled it out. A text. From Marcus. Important meeting, I'll call you later. That was it. No, I'm sorry. No, how are you holding up? No, I couldn't make it. Just important meeting. I stared at the screen, and something sharp cut through my numbness. Not grief. Anger. Then I noticed the detail that made my breath stop. A location tag under his message. Not an office. Not a work site. Not a city near home. It said, Luxury Beach Resort. My heart sank so hard it felt like pain in my chest. I read it again, thinking maybe my eyes were wrong. But it didn't change. Marcus wasn't stuck somewhere. Marcus wasn't working. Marcus wasn't even trying. He was on vacation. While I was burying our daughter. I stood there next to Grace's grave, holding my phone like it was a weapon. My fingers tightened. My whole body felt cold. Memories hit me fast, like pieces snapping together. The business trips. The late-night calls. The excuses. The way he avoided Grace's hospital room. The way he always found a reason to leave. I remembered begging him to come home when Grace got worse. He promised. He didn't show. I remembered Grace whispering, "Where's Daddy?" And me lying to her, again and again, because I couldn't accept the truth. Now the truth was screaming in my face. I walked to my car, my legs barely carrying me. People thought I was grieving. They didn't know I had just been betrayed in the ugliest way possible. When I sat in the driver's seat, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared at that text again. I'll call you later. And something inside me hardened. Because Marcus didn't realize one thing. That message was the moment he ended his own life. Not literally. But the life he built, the image he protected, the lies he thought were safe. I was going to destroy all of it. And he still thought I was just the wife at a funeral. He had no idea what I was about to do. That same night after the funeral, I didn't sleep. Marcus's text kept flashing in my mind like a warning. Luxury Beach Resort. While I stood at our daughter's grave, he was somewhere warm, carefree, living like Grace never existed. I reached home and the silence hit me hard. Grace's shoes were still near the door. Her little jacket was on the hook. My throat tightened, but I didn't allow myself to collapse. Not yet. I opened my laptop with one goal, proof. If I confronted Marcus without proof, he would twist it. He always did. First, I checked our joint account. I found 3 withdrawals in 1 week, huge amounts, each one labeled business expense. The dates matched the days Grace was in the hospital, struggling to breathe while I begged Marcus to come home. I moved to his email. At first, nothing. Then I found it, one new login alert from a travel site. I clicked. A booking confirmation appeared. Ocean Pearl Resort Premium Suite, 2 guests. My hands went cold. 2 guests. Not work, not meetings. Someone was with him. Then I searched his social media, the one he barely used. He had always acted too professional for posting. But he didn't need to post. Other people did it for him. I typed his name and scrolled. And then I saw it. A woman tagged him in a picture. The photo loaded slowly, like my phone was torturing me on purpose. Marcus was sitting on a sun in sunglasses, holding a drink like a man with no worries. A young woman leaned into him, smiling wide, her hand resting on his chest like she belonged there. The caption read, "Best week ever, Yellow Heart." Her name was Lily. I clicked her profile, and my stomach dropped. There were more photos. Marcus and Lily at dinner, Marcus and Lily on a boat, Marcus and Lily in a spa robe, Marcus kissing her cheek. And the dates were the same ones I was at the hospital begging doctors to save my child. One photo had a comment from Lily's friend. "Finally met your husband, you two are perfect." Husband. That word burned into my mind. Not boyfriend, not secret, not the guy I'm seeing. Husband. I shut my laptop and sat there breathing slowly, because if I didn't control myself, I would break apart. Marcus didn't just cheat. He was building a new life. And he was doing it while mine was collapsing. Then my phone buzzed again. Marcus. Busy, call tomorrow. I stared at the message. He wasn't scared, he wasn't guilty, he wasn't even careful. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Marcus didn't think he did anything wrong. He thought I was weak, distracted, too broken to notice. I picked up my phone, opened my notes app, and wrote one line. Lily, Ocean Pearl Resort, 2 guests. And then I wrote another line under it. Make him regret ignoring Grace's funeral. Because now I had proof. And Marcus still had no idea. The funeral wasn't the end. It was the beginning. After seeing Marcus at the resort with Lily, I knew cheating was only one part. The money was the real truth. And if I followed the money, I'd find what Marcus was truly hiding. I opened our joint account again and started checking every transaction from the last 6 months. At first, it looked normal: grocery, bills, rent. Then I saw the pattern. Every time Grace's condition got worse, Marcus withdrew money. Not small amounts, huge amounts. Each withdrawal was marked business. Each one timed perfectly with the nights I was sleeping in hospital chairs, begging doctors to save our daughter. I pulled out Grace's medical bill folder and compared dates. On the day the doctor said she may not survive, Marcus withdrew money. On the day Grace started losing consciousness, Marcus withdrew money again. On the day she died, there was another withdrawal. My hands trembled as I clicked deeper. Then I found a credit card statement I had never seen before. It was under Marcus's name only. And it was full. Luxury resort charges, spa payments, boat rentals, jewelry store transactions, dinner bills so expensive they felt like a joke. I stared at one charge and felt my stomach twist. It wasn't a hotel. It was a boutique. And the amount was enough to pay for multiple hospital treatments. I kept going until I found the worst line. Ocean Pearl Resort Premium Suite, 2 guests, paid in full. Paid, no refund, no hesitation. He didn't hesitate for Grace. But he didn't blink for Lily. Then something else caught my eye. A payment to a company I didn't recognize. Not once. 4 times. Same name. Same amount. It looked like a business vendor. But something felt off. I searched the company name online. Nothing. No website, no business address, no reviews, no registration record. It didn't exist. My heartbeat grew louder. I clicked another transaction like it might answer me. Another fake vendor. Then another. That's when I realized Marcus wasn't just spending money. He was moving money. I signed into his laptop using the password I knew he still used. I searched his files. I found a folder with a normal name, Work 2026. Inside it were PDFs. Invoices. Dozens. All from companies I had never heard of. And all of them paid. Then I found a spreadsheet. My breath stopped. It wasn't work planning. It was tracking. Dates, amounts, invoice numbers, payment confirmations. And at the bottom, one total. A total that made me dizzy. Marcus hadn't stolen from us only. He had stolen from somewhere bigger. I heard a message alert on my phone. Marcus. Still busy, don't wait up. I stared at the text, then back at the spreadsheet. He didn't know what I just found. Cheating was disgusting. But this was destruction. Because now, I wasn't dealing with a lying husband. I was dealing with a criminal. And I knew one thing clearly. If Marcus was stealing this much, he wasn't planning to come back. He was planning to disappear. And I was supposed to be too broken to stop him. I picked up my phone and typed a name into search. Private investigator. Then I pressed call. Because from this moment onward, I wasn't just grieving Grace. I was hunting Marcus. The next morning, I met the private investigator. Her name was Alina. She didn't waste time with sympathy. She looked at me and asked one question. Do you want proof for divorce, or do you want to destroy him? I answered without thinking. I want the truth, all of it. I showed her everything I had already collected. Marcus's resort booking, Lily's photos, the fake vendor payments, the spreadsheet of transactions. Alina stayed quiet as she read. Then she nodded once. He's hiding something bigger than an affair, she said. That sentence hit me hard. Alina started immediately. She tracked Marcus's phone location, his spending, and his movement history. That night, she called me. He's not coming home soon, she said, and he's not just with Lily. What do you mean? I asked. There's another man with them, same suite, same bookings, and it's not a friend. My throat tightened. Then who? Alina paused. His company's finance manager. The moment she said it, everything became clear. The fake invoices, the vendor names that didn't exist. The steady transfers. Marcus wasn't stealing alone. Alina continued, they're siphoning money in a pattern. It's organized, like they've done it many times. I stared at the wall in front of me, feeling the grief in my chest turn into something colder. Marcus had looked me in the eyes for months, letting me beg for hospital payments while he was building an escape. Then Alina said the next part, and it felt like my heart stopped. I accessed a leaked travel email they used, she said. They're planning to leave the country. I gripped my phone. When? Soon, she said. Within weeks, and Lily's involved. She isn't just a mistress, she's part of the plan. I couldn't speak. Alina sent me screenshots. One was a draft email between Marcus and Lily. It wasn't romantic, it wasn't emotional, it was business. Marcus, once the funds clear, will disappear. Lily, what about her? Marcus, she'll be too broken to fight back. I read that line again and again. Too broken. That's what he thought I was. Alina's voice sharpened. Listen, he's preparing a clean exit. New accounts, new IDs, new location. If he leaves, you won't get justice. You'll get silence. I swallowed hard. So what do we do? Alina said, we trap him before he runs. That word stayed inside my head. Trap? Alina explained the simplest truth. Marcus believed I was alone and powerless. That belief was his weakness. We could use it. Then she gave me a plan. Make him think you don't know, she said. Make him think you want him back. Invite him somewhere private. Somewhere he'll feel safe. I already knew where. The vacation home. The place Marcus loved because it made him feel rich, untouchable, above consequences. I opened my messages and typed like my life depended on it. Me, I've been thinking about everything. We need to talk. Please come to the vacation home. I don't want to fight anymore. I stared at the screen, waiting. 3 minutes later, his reply came. Marcus, of course, I'll be there, I miss you. I felt my skin crawl reading it. He didn't miss me. He missed control. I showed Alina his message. She replied instantly. Good, now we prepare evidence. And when he walks in, we make sure he walks out with nothing. I stared at Grace's picture on my table. And in that moment, I promised my daughter something silently. Marcus was finally come back. Not to comfort me. Not to mourn Grace. But to face what he created. Alina told me to stay silent and act normal. That was the hardest part. Every second I wanted to call Marcus and scream Grace's name into his ear. But I didn't. I needed him confident. I needed him careless. That same night, Alina sent me another update. I got access to Lily's background, she said, and you need to sit down. I felt my heartbeat jump. Tell me. Eleanor's tone was sharp. Lily isn't random. She has connections to financial fraud cases. Small ones, not enough to put her away, but enough to tell me she's done this before. I gripped my phone tighter. So she's a scammer. She's a professional, Eleanor replied, and Marcus thinks she's in love with him. That alone would have been enough, but Eleanor wasn't finished. There's a second file, she said, one Marcus doesn't know you can access. She sent me screenshots from Marcus's work email archives. I didn't even know those existed. My eyes scanned quickly until I saw a subject line that made my throat tighten. Internal audit, vendor irregularities. I opened the screenshot. It showed messages between Marcus and his finance manager. They weren't careful. They spoke like men who believed no one would ever catch them. One line stood out. If this gets discovered, we blame the grieving situation. My hands started shaking. They were planning to use Grace. Even after killing me inside, they were using my daughter as cover. Eleanor sent another screenshot. This one was worse. It wasn't an email. It was a draft document titled, Exit Plan. Inside were steps. New bank accounts. Wire transfers. Passport renewal. Name variations. Property liquidation. And then I saw the final line. Finalize after funeral week. I felt my stomach twist so hard I thought I would throw up. Marcus didn't skip Grace's funeral because he couldn't handle it. He skipped it because it was part of his plan. Then Eleanor sent the last screenshot. A message from Lily to Marcus. Stop worrying. Once we land, you'll forget her completely. His reply. Good, I'm done with this life. Done with this life. Done with me. Done with Grace. That was his truth. I took a deep breath, forcing my voice to stay steady when I called Eleanor. What else? I asked. There was a pause. Then she said it. The money he's stealing, it isn't only from the company. My chest tightened. What do you mean? Eleanor's voice lowered. He's also taking money from an account linked to Grace. My blood ran cold. Grace doesn't have an account. She did, Eleanor said. A medical relief account, a donation fund. Someone opened it under the family name. I couldn't breathe. You're lying. I'm not, she said. Marcus accessed it. He transferred money out. I stared at the wall like it might break open and show me how this was possible. Grace had money meant to save her life. And Marcus stole it. He didn't just abandon his daughter. He profited from her. I whispered, how much? Eleanor answered, enough that it could have changed her treatment options. The words hit like a bullet. My mind replayed every hospital moment, every time the doctor said we needed more money, every time Marcus said we were managing. We weren't managing. He was draining us. Eleanor spoke again, you still want to trap him. I didn't hesitate. Yes, I said, and this time I don't want him scared. I looked at Marcus's last message. I'll be there tomorrow, I love you. I typed back with steady fingers. Me, I'm waiting. And I smiled for the first time since Grace died. Because Marcus was walking into my home thinking he was the hunter. But he didn't know. I already had the knife. Marcus arrived the next evening. Right on time. His car pulled into the vacation home driveway like nothing had happened, like he hadn't skipped our daughter's funeral, like he hadn't been kissing another woman while I held Grace's cold hand. I watched from inside, calm and ready. Eleanor was nearby, watching too. She told me one rule, keep him talking, let him feel safe, let him expose himself. The door opened. Marcus walked in smiling, carrying flowers like he was performing a scene. I'm so sorry, he said softly. I couldn't get away. I looked at him and saw only lies. I nodded slowly, acting broken. It was unbearable without you. His eyes softened, not with guilt but relief. He believed me. He believed I was still desperate for him. He stepped closer. I've missed you. Then he hugged me. His arms felt wrong, like they belonged to a stranger. I stayed still until he pulled back. That's why I came, he said. We'll fix everything. I forced a weak smile. Yes, we will. Marcus walked around the room like he owned it. He sat down, relaxed, and started talking about stress and work like my daughter didn't die days ago. I let him speak. Then I asked calmly, "Where were you really?" Marcus didn't flinch. "I told you, meetings." I tilted my head. "Which resort is called a meeting?" His face froze for half a second. It was so quick most people would miss it, but I saw it. Then he laughed lightly. "You checked my location." "Yes," I said, "I did." He leaned forward, voice gentle. "Listen, I was overwhelmed, I needed space." Space? From his dying child. I looked down, pretending to cry. That encouraged him. Marcus reached for my hands. "I'm here now, that's what matters." I nodded slowly, like I accepted his excuse. "You're right, being here matters." Then I said the next line carefully. "I want us to start fresh." Marcus's eyes lit up. He squeezed my hands. "I knew you'd understand." I stood up. "I made tea, let me bring it." As I walked toward the kitchen, my phone vibrated. A message from a leaner. "He's lying, he didn't come alone." My heart tightened. I turned slightly and looked through the window. Another car was parked at the edge of the driveway. I hadn't noticed it. The driver door opened. A man stepped out. Suit, clean hair, confident posture. I recognized him instantly from a leaner's screenshots. Marcus's finance manager. The partner. The thief. Marcus saw my face change and followed my gaze. Then he smiled like this was normal. "Oh," he said casually, "I brought someone, he's helping with a new business move." I forced my voice steady. "Business move?" Marcus stood up calm. "Yes, something big, something that'll solve everything." The finance manager entered the house. He nodded at me like I was furniture. Marcus's voice dropped, friendly but firm. "You said you wanted a fresh start, so here it is." Then he said the sentence that made my blood go cold. "We're selling everything." I stared at him. "What?" Marcus smiled wider, like he was doing me a favor. "The house, the accounts, everything in your name too," he said. "We'll clear debt and relocate, it's the only way." Relocate. That was his exit plan, and now he was saying it to my face like I would agree. The finance manager pulled out a folder and placed it on the table. Documents. Signatures. Transfers. Marcus pointed at the papers like he'd practiced it. "Just sign," he said softly, "and we can finally leave this painful chapter behind." I stared at the pen. He wasn't asking. He was forcing. And then I realized the twist. Marcus didn't come to apologize. He came to erase me. Marcus slid the folder toward me like it was a gift. "Sign and we move on," he said. His finance manager sat back, watching me like he already owned my life. They were calm because they believed the funeral broke me. They believed grief made me stupid. I picked up the pen. Marcus's eyes softened. "Good, this is for us." I looked down at the first page. It wasn't just selling property. It was everything. My share of accounts, my access, my rights, my claims. Even Grace's relief fund name was hidden in the paperwork as a charity account closure. He was trying to take the last thing Grace had left in this world. I raised my head slowly. "You want me to sign all of this today?" Marcus nodded. "Yes, before emotions change your mind." I forced a small smile. "You're right." Then I leaned forward and signed. Marcus exhaled like he'd won. His finance manager smirked. But I didn't sign my name. I signed a fake signature. One a leaner had prepared. It looked real enough for a glance, but legally, it meant nothing. The moment they tried to use it, it would expose them. Marcus flipped pages fast, hungry. "Perfect," he said, tapping the paper. "See, this is healing." Healing? I wanted to laugh. I stood up calmly. "Let me bring the rest of the documents from my room, the insurance forms too." Marcus waved. "Go ahead." The moment I turned the corner, I grabbed my phone and sent a message to a leaner. They brought transfer papers. "Fake signature done. Activate step 2. A leaner replied instantly. "On it, recording live." I returned with another folder. Inside were copies of Marcus's invoices, bank transfers, Lily's resort receipts, and the exit plan document. I placed the folder on the table like it was paperwork he wanted. Marcus opened it carelessly. His face changed. "What is this?" he asked. I sat down across from him. "Your real business." His finance manager leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Where did you get that?" "I found it," I said, "just like I found Lily." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Don't start this." I stayed calm. "You skipped Grace's funeral to drink on a beach with your mistress." Marcus slammed the folder shut. "Watch your mouth." Then I said the line that made the room freeze. "You stole money from Grace's relief account." Silence. Marcus's finance manager shifted. Marcus blinked like his brain couldn't process that I knew. Marcus leaned toward me, voice low. "You don't know what you're talking about." I opened my folder and pushed a bank transfer printout toward him. Date, amount, destination account. His eyes flicked across it. His face drained slightly, but he recovered fast. "It was necessary," he said coldly. "Grace was gone anyway." My body went numb for 1 second. Then anger lit every nerve inside me. I leaned in. "Say that again." Marcus didn't hesitate. He smiled like a man revealing his true face. "She was already dying," he said. "I wasn't going to waste my future on hospital fantasies." His finance manager laughed quietly. And in that moment, the trap became perfect. Because Marcus just confessed. Not to me. To Aliner's hidden recorder. Marcus looked at me like I was nothing. "You'll sign what I tell you," he said. "Then you'll disappear quietly, understand?" I stared back and whispered, "You're right." Marcus smirked, finally. Then I added softly, "One of us is disappearing." His smile dropped. He opened his mouth to speak. But his phone rang. "Unknown number." He answered. And I watched his face slowly turn pale. "Marcus," a calm voice said through the speaker, loud enough for me to hear, "this is corporate audit. We need you to come in. Now." Marcus froze. His finance manager stood up sharply. "What did you do?" I smiled. "Nothing," I said. "I only stopped being broken." Marcus ended the audit call with shaking fingers. His finance manager grabbed his jacket like they needed to run. "What did you send?" the man demanded. Marcus turned to me, eyes wild. "You contacted my company." I kept my voice calm. "I contacted the truth." Marcus stepped closer, threatening. "You think you can ruin me? You're nothing without me." Then his phone buzzed again. He looked down. And froze. The name on the screen made his face change completely. "Lily." He answered fast. "Lily, not now." Her voice came through loud and sharp. "It's over," she said. Marcus blinked. "What?" I said it's over, Lily repeated. "They know, someone tipped them, I'm not going down for you." Marcus swallowed. "What are you talking about? Just stay calm." Lily laughed once cold. "Calm? Marcus, your finance guy already called me screaming. Your whole scam is collapsing." Marcus whispered, "You promise me." Lily's tone turned mocking. "I promise to win, not to lose with you." Marcus looked around like the room was spinning. "Where are you?" Lily replied casually, "At the airport." My heart tightened. Marcus's eyes widened. "You're leaving?" "Yes," Lily said, "with the money." The finance manager snapped, "What money?" Lily answered instantly, like she'd been waiting for this. "All of it," she said. "Every transfer Marcus sent me. And the emergency stash too. I emptied it." Marcus choked. "You can't do that." Lily's voice softened, like fake pity. "You thought you could cheat your wife, steal from your company, rob your daughter's fund, and still control me." Silence swallowed the room. Marcus's mouth opened, but no words came out. Lily continued, "You're not smart, Marcus, you're just greedy." Marcus's voice cracked. "Lily, please, don't leave me." She laughed again. "Please, that's cute." Then she added the final knife. "And by the way, your wife knows everything because I sent her the screenshots." Marcus turned slowly toward me. His eyes were pure terror now. The finance manager backed away like Marcus was contagious. Marcus whispered, You talked to her." I nodded once. Marcus's face twisted. "Why?" Lily answered before I did. "Because you were disgusting," she said. "You used your daughter's death as an excuse. That was the moment I knew you deserved to burn. Marcus looked like he might collapse. His finance manager grabbed him. We need to go, now. But Marcus didn't move. His phone was still at his ear like he couldn't accept reality. Lily's voice became distant. Enjoy prison, Marcus. The call ended. Marcus stood there breathing hard, sweat forming on his forehead. He looked at the papers on the table, the fake signature, the evidence folder, my calm face. For the first time, Marcus understood. He wasn't in control anymore. He tried to speak. Listen, we can talk, I made mistakes. Mistakes, I repeated quiet. Marcus's eyes pleaded now. Grace. I cut him off, don't say her name. At that exact moment, headlights flashed outside. A car pulled into the driveway fast. Then another. Eleanor's voice came through my phone, short and clear. They're here. Marcus spun toward the window. The finance manager whispered, police. Marcus's voice turned desperate. You called the police. I stood up slowly. No, Marcus. I leaned closer. Your own lies did. Then there was a hard knock at the door. Not polite. Not gentle. A knock that meant consequences. Marcus stepped back, shaking. And I smiled, because I knew what was coming next. The knocking came again, louder. Marcus's finance manager whispered, don't open it. Marcus's eyes darted to me. If you open that door, you'll regret it. I walked forward anyway. When I opened it, 2 officers stood outside with Eleanor behind them. Eleanor gave me a calm look. She didn't speak, but I understood. Everything was recorded, everything was ready. One officer asked, Ma'am, are you safe? Marcus stepped in fast, forcing a smile. This is a misunderstanding. My wife is emotional. We just lost our child. The officer looked at him. Sir, we need to speak with you. Marcus's smile stayed fixed. Of course, but she's unstable right now. She's grieving. She's confused. I felt my stomach twist. He was doing it again, using grace, using grief. The officer turned to me. Ma'am, do you have documents related to financial fraud? I held up the folder. Yes. Marcus snapped, that's private, she stole those. The finance manager tried to slip toward the back door, but Eleanor stepped into his path. Don't, Eleanor said calmly. He froze. Marcus forced laughter. Officer, this is ridiculous. My wife is trying to punish me because I couldn't attend the funeral. I had work obligations. I looked at the officer and spoke clearly. He wasn't at work. He was at Ocean Pearl Resort with Lily Hart. Marcus's face turned tight. The officer asked, do you have proof? Eleanor handed over printed photos and transactions, resort bookings, payments, and location confirmation. Marcus's voice rose. That woman means nothing. It was a stupid mistake. Then I said, he stole from our daughter's relief account. The room went silent. Marcus turned slowly to me, eyes wide, warning. Stop. I didn't stop. I pulled out the bank transfer printouts and placed them in the officer's hands. These transfers happened during her hospital stay. Marcus suddenly stepped forward, voice sharp. She's lying, she forged that. Eleanor spoke calmly. Actually, we have audio recorded today. Marcus froze. Audio. Eleanor held up her phone. You admitted Grace was gone anyway. You admitted the transfers. You admitted the escape plan. Marcus's mouth opened, then closed. His confidence cracked. He turned toward the finance manager, desperate. Say something. The finance manager stayed silent. He was already calculating survival. Marcus's voice started shaking. This is insane. She's doing this because she's broken. The officer looked at Marcus. Sir, step aside. Marcus backed up, breathing fast. You don't understand who I am. Eleanor's eyes stayed cold. I understand exactly who you are. Marcus snapped at her. Who even are you? Eleanor replied, the person who documented your confession. Marcus's face changed. He realized the trap was bigger than he thought. Then the finance manager suddenly spoke, quiet but deadly. I want a deal, he said. Marcus whipped his head toward him. What? The man looked at the officers. Marcus planned everything. The fake vendors, the transfers, the exit. I have emails. Marcus stared at him like he'd been stabbed. You're blaming me, Marcus whispered. The finance manager shrugged. I'm not going to prison for you. Marcus's knees looked weak for a second. The officer stepped forward. Sir, you need to come with us. Marcus turned to me, voice breaking. Please don't do this, we can fix it. I stared at him and spoke slowly. You skipped Grace's funeral. Marcus whispered, I didn't. You did, I cut him off, and now you don't get to fix anything. The officer reached for Marcus's arm. Marcus jerked away, panicking. No, wait. Then he yelled the one sentence that made the officer stop. Grace's death wasn't my fault. I narrowed my eyes. What did you just say? Marcus swallowed hard. He had said it too fast. Too confidently. Like he knew something I didn't. And suddenly, the room felt colder. Because now, I wasn't thinking about cheating or money. I was thinking about Grace. And what Marcus had just revealed. Marcus's words hung in the air. Grace's death wasn't my fault. The officer's hand stayed on his arm, but even the officers paused, sensing something darker underneath. I stepped closer. Why would you say that? Marcus's face tightened. His eyes flicked to the finance manager, then to a leaner, then back to me. He realized he had spoken too much. I didn't mean, he started. You did, I said. You said it like you were defending yourself from something nobody accused you of. Marcus swallowed. I'm saying I wasn't there. I didn't cause it. Eleanor moved closer. Then why are you nervous? Marcus snapped at her. Stay out of this. I stared into his eyes. Marcus, did you know she was going to die? His breathing turned uneven. The finance manager suddenly spoke again, trying to save himself. You don't understand, he told the officers. He was planning this for months. Marcus yelled, shut up. But the man didn't stop. He said once the girl was gone, the wife would be weaker, the finance manager said. Easier to control, easier to drain accounts. My body went still. The officer asked, who is the girl? The finance manager pointed without hesitation. Their daughter. I felt my knees weaken, but I forced myself upright. Marcus, what did you do? Marcus shook his head fast. Nothing, she was sick. Everyone knew she was sick. Yes, I said, but you weren't acting like a father. You were acting like someone waiting. Marcus's voice rose. You're twisting this. Eleanor held out her phone. Let's play the audio again. Marcus's face snapped toward her. No. Eleanor pressed play. Marcus's own voice filled the room, cold and clear. She was already dying. I wasn't going to waste my future. I felt my throat burn. The officer's voice became firm. Sir, you are coming with us. Marcus panicked. That recording is illegal. Eleanor replied calmly. It's legal, and it's real. Marcus turned to me again, desperate. Listen to me. Grace was going to die no matter what. I stared at him. Stop saying that. Marcus blurted, you think I didn't try? I did what I could. Did what? I asked. Marcus froze. He didn't answer. And that silence was the loudest thing in the room. The officer asked, Ma'am, do you suspect foul play in the child's death? My heart started racing. I didn't want to believe it. But Marcus's face, his fear, his defensiveness, it wasn't guilt about cheating anymore. It was fear of something bigger. Eleanor leaned toward me and whispered, he's hiding something about the hospital. I turned back to Marcus. What happened during her treatment? Marcus's eyes widened slightly. He whispered, nothing. Then he added, too quickly, the hospital made mistakes. The word hit me like a blade. Mistakes. Grace's last day flashed in my mind. The nurse leaving the room. The sudden drop, the rushed doctors, the confusion. I had blamed fate. But what if it wasn't fate? I stepped closer until Marcus had to look at me. Marcus, I said quietly, tell me why you're defending yourself against my daughter's death. Marcus's lips trembled. He looked at the officers. He looked at Eleanor. Then he looked at me. And he finally whispered the truth. There was an option, he said. My chest tightened. What option? Marcus swallowed hard. A treatment trial, he admitted. A funded one. I froze. Funded. Marcus nodded slightly. It could have helped. It was expensive, but there was funding. My hands shook. So why didn't we take it? Marcus's eyes filled with panic. Because he knew. His next words were barely audible. Because I stopped it. Silence crashed over the room. And I felt like the world just ended again. Marcus's confession froze my blood. Because I stopped it. I stared at him like I was looking at a stranger, wearing my husband's face. The officer asked sharply, "Stopped what?" Marcus panicked. "I didn't mean." Eleanor stepped forward. "You said there was a funded treatment trial, and you stopped it. Explain." Marcus's breathing turned fast. His finance manager shifted, watching the collapse like it was entertainment. I whispered, "You had a way to help Grace, and you stopped it." Marcus shook his head. "It wouldn't have worked." I stepped closer. "That's not your decision." Marcus's voice rose. "She was suffering, she was dying slowly." I snapped, "Don't you dare pretend you cared." Marcus flinched. For the first time, he couldn't hide behind charm. He was cornered. The officer demanded again, "What did you do at the hospital?" Marcus swallowed hard. "I signed papers." My stomach dropped. "What papers?" Marcus looked away. "I told them we didn't want the trial." I felt dizzy. "You refused it without telling me." Marcus's voice turned defensive. "I'm her father too." Eleanor's tone became cold. "So you blocked a funded trial while moving money out of her relief fund." Marcus snapped, "That money wasn't enough." I shouted, "It was enough to try." The room went silent again. Then the finance manager spoke quietly, cruelly honest. "He did it for timing," he said. "He needed her gone to move faster." I turned toward him. "What timing?" The man shrugged. "Insurance payout, sympathy cover, easier transfers, less questions." My body shook with rage. Marcus yelled, "You're lying." The finance manager smiled. "Am I?" Eleanor turned her phone screen toward the officer. "We have a full financial timeline. Every transfer, every withdrawal, each one increases near key medical dates." The officer asked, "Can you provide hospital records?" Eleanor nodded. "Already requested." Marcus's face drained of color. "You can't." Eleanor replied, "I already did." Marcus looked at me like he was drowning. "Please," he whispered, "I didn't kill her." I stared back, "But you let her die." Marcus's eyes filled with terror. "You don't understand what pressure I was under." "Pressure," I repeated. "Grace was under pressure. She was fighting for her life." Marcus suddenly grabbed my wrist tight. "If you ruin me, you'll ruin yourself too." The officer stepped forward. "Sir, let go." Marcus released me slowly, but his eyes stayed threatening. Then he spoke in a low voice, meant only for me. "You'll lose everything if I go down," he said. "The house, the money, your future." I leaned closer and whispered back. "My future died in that hospital room." Marcus's lips trembled. He looked around, trying to find a way out. He had none. The officer pulled out handcuffs. Marcus snapped, voice sharp, "Wait." He looked at me, desperate. "I can fix this," he said. "I can give you money, I can give you the truth." Eleanor stepped in instantly. "What truth?" Marcus swallowed, then said the next twist like a confession from hell. "Grace wasn't supposed to die that day," he whispered. "Something happened." My chest tightened. "What happened?" I demanded. Marcus looked at the officers, then back at me. And he said the words that turned my grief into horror. "I paid someone," he admitted, "to make sure the trial never happened." The officer's voice became hard. "Paid who?" Marcus closed his eyes. Then he whispered the name. "A nurse." My whole body went cold. Because I remembered that nurse. When Marcus said, "A nurse," my mind snapped to one face instantly. Nurse Diane. The one who always insisted Marcus could handle paperwork. The one who pushed forms at him while I was exhausted and crying. The one who told me, "Your husband already signed." I had trusted her. I stepped back shaking. "Diane." Marcus didn't deny it. The officer's voice turned sharp. "Sir, you bribed hospital staff." Marcus whispered, "I didn't think it would end like this." I lunged forward. "You didn't think your daughter would die." Marcus's eyes filled with fear. "She was already weak. I thought she'd just lose the chance at the trial, not." "Not what?" Eleanor snapped. "Not die faster." Marcus couldn't answer. Eleanor turned to the officers. "Hospital interference is criminal. We need her records. The officer nodded. We'll request them tonight. Marcus panicked. You can't prove anything. Alina stared at him. You forget who you confessed to. Marcus looked at the finance manager, desperate. Tell them she's lying. The finance manager's voice stayed calm. I'm not protecting you. Marcus's eyes narrowed. You're dead to me. The man shrugged. At least I'll be alive. The officer moved closer to Marcus. You're coming in. Marcus suddenly shouted. Fine, arrest me, but she'll never recover from what I know. I froze. What you know? Marcus leaned toward me, smiling like poison. Grace's death was recorded as unexpected deterioration, he said, but it wasn't unexpected. My throat tightened. What are you saying? Marcus's voice dropped. Diane altered a dose. Silence hit like a wall. Alina's eyes widened slightly. Even she didn't expect that. The officer's tone changed completely. Altered a dose of what? Marcus swallowed hard. Medication, I don't know which, but I paid her to make things easier. I felt sick. Alina stepped forward. Did you order her to harm the child? Marcus shook his head fast. No, I only wanted the trial blocked. I wanted the timeline controlled. Controlled? He was talking about Grace like she was an expense. The officer spoke firmly. Sir, that's homicide territory. Marcus looked like he was going to collapse. I didn't mean it. I stared at him. You didn't mean Grace to die, but you planned for it. Marcus's lips trembled. He whispered, I needed it done. My hands clenched. For money. Marcus didn't answer. He didn't need to. Because his silence was the confession. Then Alina's phone rang. She answered, listened, and her face hardened. She looked at me. Hospital admin confirmed something. My chest tightened. What? Alina spoke slowly, like she wanted every word to cut. On the day Grace died, Nurse Diane accessed Grace's medication log at a time she was not assigned to your daughter. Marcus's eyes snapped open. Alina continued, and that access was followed by a dose update. The officer immediately pulled out his radio. We need to locate that nurse now. Marcus started trembling. He whispered, she wasn't supposed to talk. Alina stared at him. She didn't, the system did. Then my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. One line. If you want the full truth, meet me alone. Then another message came instantly. I'm Diane. My whole body went cold. Because the nurse wasn't running. She was calling me. The message from Diane burned on my screen. Meet me alone. Alina immediately said, no, it's a trap. But I couldn't ignore it. Diane had been inside Grace's room, inside Grace's life. If she was ready to talk, she held the last pieces of the truth. I typed one reply. Where? Her answer came fast. Hospital parking lot, 11 p.m. Come alone or I disappear. Alina watched my face. You're not going alone. I have to, I said. If she runs, Marcus wins again. Alina's eyes narrowed. Then we do it smart. At 11 p.m., my car rolled into the hospital parking lot. Alina was nearby, hidden, with officers on standby. My phone stayed in my hand like a weapon. A few seconds later, a shadow moved between parked cars. Diane stepped out. She looked different, nervous, pale, like someone who hadn't slept since Grace died. She spoke first. You hate me. I didn't blink. Tell me what you did. Diane swallowed. I didn't want to, I swear. I didn't want to touch your child. My heart pounded. Then why did you? Her voice shook. Because Marcus paid me. Because he said it was paperwork only. He said the trial would make her suffer more. Lies. I stared at her. Did you change her dose? Diane's eyes filled with fear. I accessed the log. And, I snapped. Diane whispered, I adjusted one medication setting. My chest tightened. That's why she crashed. Diane nodded slowly, breaking. I didn't know it would happen that fast. I stepped closer. You killed her. Diane flinched. No, I didn't plan to. I followed his instructions. He said it would be harmless. He said he had money ready for a better future. I felt sick. Then Diane said the next twist. He wasn't alone, she whispered. I froze. Who else? Diane looked down. Lily. My blood turned cold. Lily wasn't in our lives back then. Diane shook her head. Yes, she was, you just didn't know. I stared at her. What are you saying? Diane's voice cracked. Lily contacted me first. She works with someone who recruits staff. She offered money, said it was safe, said families do this all the time. Recruiting hospital staff. It wasn't messy cheating. It was planned. I whispered, so Lily was part of Grace's treatment interference. Diane nodded. Then she pulled out her phone with shaking hands. I brought proof. She opened a chat history. My eyes scanned the messages. A number saved as L. The texts were cold. Confirm trial refusal. Confirm dose adjustment. Payment will clear after funeral. My breath stopped. I looked at Diane. You knew about the funeral. Diane whispered. They spoke like it was already scheduled. My hands shook as I grabbed the phone and read the last message. It was from Marcus. Once she's gone, my wife is manageable. I heard myself breathe out, slow and broken. Diane backed away. I'm giving you this because I can't carry it anymore. They promised me protection, but now they're abandoning me. I stared at her. You deserve prison. Diane nodded. I know. Then she leaned closer and said the final twist, voice shaking. Marcus didn't just steal relief money, Diane whispered. He created the relief fund himself. I froze. What? He started it under Grace's name, Diane said, and he drained it through fake medical vendors. He made money off her sickness. My knees almost gave out. Grace's suffering was income to him. I turned toward my car, hands shaking, but Diane grabbed my sleeve. There's more, she whispered. Marcus has a copy of the altered records. If he destroys them, you lose the murder proof. Eleanor's voice suddenly came through my earpiece. Officers moving in. Diane's eyes widened. She stepped back and whispered one last warning. He planned to burn everything tonight. Then she ran. And I understood the next twist instantly. Marcus wasn't waiting for prison. He was planning to erase evidence. Tonight, Eleanor didn't waste a second. Marcus is moving tonight, she said. Diane's right, he's going for the records. We drove straight to Marcus's office building. It was late, but the lights on one floor were still on. Eleanor called the officer in charge and relayed what Diane revealed. Within minutes, a unit was on the way. I watched the building and felt my heart pound. Marcus was already inside. Eleanor whispered, if he deletes the evidence, the murder case weakens. I stared at the lit windows, then we stop him. We entered through the side with security assistance. The hallway was quiet, but I could hear movement ahead. Doors, drawers, fast footsteps. Eleanor held up her phone. The tracker showed Marcus's location on the top floor. We climbed quickly. Then we heard voices. Marcus's voice, sharp and panicked. Hurry up, he snapped. Another voice answered, his finance manager. You said audit already called, the man said. We're finished. Marcus barked, we're not finished until the records are gone. Eleanor motioned for silence. We crept closer. The door to Marcus's private office was slightly open. Inside, Marcus was ripping papers from a file cabinet. The finance manager was holding a laptop. Marcus threw stacks into a metal trash bin. Then he poured something over the papers. Gasoline. My stomach twisted. The finance manager whispered, Are you insane? Marcus's face was wild. If they can't prove it, I walk. He pulled out a lighter. I stepped forward without thinking. Marcus. His head snapped up. For 1 second, his face showed real fear. Then he forced a smile. You followed me. I walked into the room slowly. You're burning Grace's records. Marcus shrugged like it was nothing. Your grief made you dangerous. Eleanor entered behind me. Drop the lighter, Marcus. Marcus laughed. Who are you to order me? Eleanor raised her phone. The person who has your confession, Diane's screenshots, and now this. Marcus's eyes flicked to the trash bin. He knew he was caught. He tightened his grip on the lighter anyway. The finance manager backed away. Marcus, stop. Marcus ignored him. I won't rot in prison because she's emotional. Then Marcus flicked the lighter. Flame. The papers caught instantly. Heat rose fast. My lungs tightened. Elena shouted, "Now." Officers rushed in. Marcus backed up, raising his hands. "Wait, you can't." An officer grabbed his wrist and forced him down. The lighter fell and skidded across the floor. Marcus screamed, "This is my office." The officer didn't care. "Hands behind your back." The finance manager tried to run, but another officer stopped him. Elena rushed to the burning bin and pulled out what she could with gloves. Papers were already curling black. I stared at Marcus. "You're burning your daughter." Marcus glared at me, breathing hard. "She was a problem." The words hit like poison. I whispered, "Say it again." Marcus yelled, "She was sick, she was expensive, and you were weak." Silence followed. Even the officers paused. Marcus had just destroyed himself with his own mouth. Elena stepped close to him. "That statement will play in court." Marcus's face finally cracked. His eyes darted around, searching for control. Then he shouted, "Lily did it, Lily planned it." My stomach dropped. Marcus leaned forward, desperate. "She recruited the nurse, she pushed me, she's the mastermind." Elena looked at him coldly. "Then tell us where she is." Marcus swallowed. And then he whispered the final twist. "She's not fleeing." I stared. "What?" Marcus's voice broke. "She's in town." He looked at me and said it like a curse. "She's coming for you next." After Marcus was arrested, I thought the danger ended. I was wrong. At 2:17 a.m., Elena called me. "Lily didn't fly out," she said. "The airport story was a lie. She used it to break Marcus." My throat tightened. "Then where is she?" Elena's voice was sharp. "She's close, and she's not running because she believes she can still win." I didn't sleep. I stayed awake, staring at Grace's picture, feeling something heavy in my chest. If Lily helped destroy Grace's chance, then she wasn't just the mistress. She was part of the murder. Morning came, quiet, too quiet. Then my doorbell rang. I froze. I wasn't expecting anyone. I checked the camera. And my blood turned cold. Lily stood at my front door. Not scared. Not hiding. She was dressed calmly like she belonged there. I didn't open the door. I spoke through the intercom, "Leave." Lily smiled at the camera. "You're going to open because you want answers." "I already have answers," I said. Lily laughed softly. "No, you have pieces, I have the full story." My hands shook. "You helped kill my daughter." Lily's smile didn't move. "Don't say that too loudly. People don't like ugly words." I stared at her through the screen like I was looking at a demon. Then she said something that made my heart jump. "Marcus didn't start this," she said. "He only finished it." I swallowed hard. "What does that mean?" Lily leaned closer to the camera. "Grace's trial was never going to happen." My body went cold. "You're lying." Lily replied, "I'm not. Someone else blocked it first. Marcus just paid to make sure it stayed blocked." The twist hit fast. "Someone else?" Lily continued, voice smooth. "The hospital had a reason. They didn't want Grace in that program." I pressed my forehead against the wall. "Why?" Lily smiled wider. "Because Grace wasn't a good candidate." I whispered, "Who decided that?" Lily tilted her head. "Guess." My mind snapped to something dark. "The nurse." "The hospital staff." But Lily wasn't done. "Your husband was greedy," she said, "but he wasn't brave enough to do the messy parts. That's why he needed me." I felt sick. "Get away from my house." Lily's voice turned colder. "You ruined my plan. Marcus was supposed to take the fall, not confess like an idiot." Then she pulled something from her purse. A phone. She held it up to the camera. "Recognize this?" she asked. My stomach dropped. It was Grace's hospital bracelet, tied around the phone like a sick trophy. Rage surged through me. "Give that back." Lily's eyes glittered. "You want it? Open the door." I didn't move. Then Lily said the next line, quiet but deadly. "Your daughter didn't die because of money," she whispered. "She died because she was in the way." I felt my breath stop. "In the way of what?" I demanded. Lily stepped back from the camera, like she was done talking. "In the way of your inheritance," she said. In the way of the payout. Then she added, and you're still in the way. My skin went cold. Because at that moment, I understood why she came in person. Not to threaten. To finish. Then the camera feed glitched. Just for a second. And in that second, the front door handle moved. Lily had a key. I whispered, shaking, "How do you have that?" Lily's voice came through the intercom, like a whisper in my ear. "Marcus gave it to me," she said. And the lock turned, the lock turned. My heart slammed hard as the door opened. Lily stepped inside like she owned the place. Calm, smiling, holding Grace's bracelet like a prize. "You look scared," she said. I backed up slowly, keeping distance. "Get out." Lily laughed. "This house is half Marcus's, and Marcus trusted me." I stared at her. "Why are you here?" Lily walked closer. "Because you ruined everything." "Good," I said. Her smile faded for a second. "You don't understand what you did. You weren't supposed to dig. You were supposed to cry, sign papers, and disappear." I tightened my fists. "You came to kill me." Lily tilted her head. "Kill you? No, that would be messy." She raised the phone with the bracelet. "I came to remind you what happens when you don't cooperate." Then she said the words that made my blood freeze. "Marcus had a life insurance policy," she said. "Big one." I whispered, "Grace didn't have insurance." Lily smiled again. "Not Grace, Marcus." My chest tightened. "What?" Lily stepped closer. "Marcus told me he'd disappear overseas. New name, new money, no prison. But after his confession, I needed a backup plan." I stared at her. "What plan?" Lily's voice turned cold. "If Marcus can't escape, Marcus can die." I froze. Lily continued. "And if Marcus dies under the right story, the payout lands in the spouse's hands." My stomach twisted. She was saying it directly. She wanted Marcus dead, so I would receive the money. Then she would take it from me. Lily leaned in. "You're the final step." My hands shook. "You're insane." Lily smiled wider. "I'm prepared." She reached into her purse and pulled out a small bottle. "Medication. Hospital grade." She shook it lightly. "One dose and you sleep. Permanent grief, permanent silence." I stepped back, voice sharp. "Stay away." Lily laughed softly. "You think anyone will believe you? People already see you as the grieving wife." Then she whispered, "The one who snapped." My mind flashed. That was the framing. She wanted me to look unstable, then gone. Lily moved one step closer. And I raised my phone. I pressed one button. A loud beep filled the room. Lily stopped. Her eyes narrowed. "What is that?" I stared straight at her. "A live call." Lily's smile twitched. "To who?" Before I could answer, Elinor's voice blasted through the speaker. "To the police," Elinor said. Lily's eyes widened. Elinor continued, calm and deadly. "And you're being recorded." Lily stepped back fast, her confidence cracking for the first time. "You set me up," she hissed. I didn't blink. "Like you set up Grace." Lily's face twisted with rage. "You think this ends me?" Then she lunged forward. I dodged. The bottle slipped from her hand and hit the floor. Lily tried to grab it, but I kicked it away. Lily slapped me hard across the face. Pain shot through my jaw. Then the front door slammed open. 2 officers rushed in. Lily froze mid-breath. Elinor entered behind them, her eyes locked on Lily. Lily looked around, calculating. Then she did the one thing I didn't expect. She smiled again. And she whispered, "Too late." The officer grabbed her arm. "Ma'am, you're under arrest." Lily didn't resist. She leaned toward me, voice low. "I already sent the files," she whispered. "The real ones." My blood turned cold. "What files?" I asked. Lily's smile stayed cruel. "The ones that prove Marcus didn't act alone," she said, "and the ones that will destroy you too." Lily was taken away in handcuffs, smiling like she had already won. Elinor stayed with me, calm but tense. "She said she sent files," Elinor said. "That's not a bluff." I whispered, "What could she send?" Elinor didn't answer. She checked her phone, her face tightening as messages started flooding in. Then my phone buzzed. A notification. A news post. A leaked video. I opened it and my breath stopped. It was hospital CCTV footage. The title on the post was brutal. Grieving mother seen arguing before daughter died. I watched in horror. The clip showed me outside Grace's room, crying, shouting at a nurse. It was cut carefully to make me look violent, unstable, dangerous. Then the next clip played. A hospital audio recording. My own voice. Crying, desperate, saying, "I can't do this anymore." I whispered, "This isn't." Alina snapped, "It's edited." But the world wouldn't care. The comments were exploding. She killed her kid. She's acting innocent. Classic cover-up. Then another file dropped. A screenshot of a form. The refusal form. The trial rejection. And the signature at the bottom. Looked like mine. My blood went cold. Alina grabbed my phone and stared hard. That's forged. But it didn't matter. Online, it looked real. Then my doorbell rang again. This time it wasn't Lily. It was detectives. They showed identification. Their faces were cold and official. One asked, "Ma'am, we need you to come with us." My voice shook. "For what?" He showed me his phone. "These leaks are spreading fast. They indicate possible involvement in treatment refusal and an altercation before death." Alina stepped forward. "You have no direct evidence." The detective replied, "We have public pressure and conflicting documentation. We have to question her formally." My body felt numb as I grabbed my coat. I didn't fear questions. I feared the damage. Because Lily didn't just attack me physically. She attacked my reputation. She turned Grace's death into a public trial. At the station, the detective placed papers in front of me. "This signature," he said, "is this yours?" I stared. It wasn't my handwriting. But it looked close enough. I shook my head. "No." He slid another paper forward. A bank transfer approval. It showed a withdrawal from Grace's relief account. And attached to it, a photo of me signing something at the hospital desk. My stomach dropped. I remembered it. It was a consent form for IV adjustment, nothing else. But in the leak, it was labeled as donation access approval. Alina's voice was sharp. "This is manipulation." The detective didn't argue. He only said, "We also received an anonymous message." He tapped his screen and turned it toward me. A text from Lily's number. She knew, she allowed it. She wanted Grace gone too. My throat tightened. "She's lying." The detective leaned back, then explained why she had hospital footage and sign forms. Alina answered for me. "Because Lily had an inside contact," Alina said, "a nurse." The detective's eyes narrowed. "What nurse?" he asked. Alina replied, "Diane." The detective paused, then stood up suddenly. "Diane wasn't found," he said. My heart dropped. "What?" I whispered. The detective looked at me like a warning. "She vanished last night," he said, "and if she's gone, the case gets ugly." Alina's phone buzzed. She answered. Then her face hardened. She looked at me and spoke slowly. "They found Diane," she said. My chest tightened. "Alive?" Alina's voice lowered. "No," she said, "dead." And suddenly, I understood the final twist Lily had planned. She wasn't sending files to expose Marcus. She was building a new story. And now the story was pointing at me. Diane was dead. The moment I heard it, I knew it wasn't an accident. Because Diane was a loose end. And loose ends don't survive in plans like Marcus and Lily's. The detective showed me the report. "Found in her apartment," he said, "overdose." Alina leaned in. "Forced overdose." The detective didn't answer directly. He only said, "We're investigating." But his eyes told the truth. They already suspected foul play. And now Diane couldn't testify, couldn't confirm Lily's messages, couldn't expose the nurse recruitment, couldn't prove Marcus blocked Grace's trial. Diane's death didn't just remove evidence. It created a new weapon. The detective looked at me. "She met you last night." "Yes," I said. "You were the last known person in contact," he replied. My breath tightened. "She texted me." Eleanor stepped in. We have that phone record. The detective nodded slowly. We'll need it. Then he dropped another bomb. Diane's phone is missing, he said. My stomach turned. That phone had the entire chat history, the proof that Lily recruited her, the messages about dose adjustment, the payments. It was gone. Eleanor whispered, Lily or Marcus took it. The detective tapped his screen again. There's more. He showed me a new leak. A video clip from Diane's apartment, building security camera. The timestamp was near midnight. The clip was blurry, but it showed someone entering Diane's building. A woman. Long hair, hoodie, mask. Then the next clip showed her leaving, calm, with something in her hand. A phone. The detective studied my face. Do you know who this is? He asked. I stared hard. The posture, the walk. I whispered, Lily. The detective's eyes narrowed. That's your claim. Eleanor spoke firmly. We can match height and gait, and Lily already admitted sending files. The detective nodded slowly. We'll pursue it. Then the next twist hit. The detective said, Lily's lawyer submitted evidence this morning. My chest tightened. Evidence of what? The detective slid a document toward me. A police statement. Signed by Lily. It claimed Marcus didn't plan Grace's death. It claimed I did. I stared. What? The detective spoke calmly. She says you were angry about medical costs, angry about Marcus's absence, and you pressured staff to end suffering. I felt my breath leave my body. Eleanor's voice turned sharp. That's insane. The detective continued. She claims Marcus discovered your plan and paid Diane to reverse it, but it went wrong. I stared at the paper like it was poison. Lily had flipped the entire story. She was turning Marcus into a victim. Turning me into the killer. Then Eleanor's phone buzzed. She listened, then her face went cold. What? I asked. Eleanor looked at me. Marcus is requesting to speak. My heart pounded. Why? I asked. Eleanor answered quietly. Because he knows Lily is trying to sacrifice you. We entered the interrogation room. Marcus sat behind glass, cuffed, eyes hollow. When he saw me, he didn't beg. He smiled. And that smile terrified me more than his anger ever did. He spoke softly into the phone. She's good, isn't she? Marcus said. Lily. I stared at him. What do you want? Marcus leaned closer. To offer you a deal, he whispered. Your freedom for my silence. My blood turned cold. Because Marcus wasn't scared of prison anymore. He was bargaining with my life. Marcus sat behind the glass like a man who still believed he could win. He leaned toward the phone and spoke calmly. Lily is turning the knife on you, he said, and you don't even see how deep it goes. I stared at him. You started all of this. Marcus smiled slightly. I started greed, Lily started strategy. Eleanor stood beside me, watching every word. Marcus continued, if Lily gets you blamed, she walks free. She'll say she was manipulated, and the world will believe her. My fists clenched. What do you want? Marcus's eyes hardened. I want protection. From prison, I asked. Marcus shook his head. From her. I froze. Marcus whispered, Lily isn't just a mistress. She's connected. She didn't recruit one nurse. She had a network. Eleanor asked sharply, prove it. Marcus smirked. I can, but not for free. I stared at him. You want me to help you after Grace? Marcus leaned in closer, voice quiet. You want to stay out of prison, don't you? My throat tightened. That was his real weapon. He wasn't begging for forgiveness. He was threatening me with the new story Lily created. Marcus said, here's the deal. You stay silent about my involvement in the hospital side, and I expose Lily fully. Eleanor snapped, you already confessed. Marcus smiled. Confessions can be explained, evidence cannot. Then he said the next twist. I kept a copy of Diane's phone data, Marcus whispered, before she met you. My blood ran cold. How? Marcus's voice was smug. Because Diane was never loyal to Lily, Diane was loyal to money. I stared at him, sickened. You had that proof and still let her die. Marcus shrugged. She served her purpose. Eleanor's eyes narrowed. Where is the data? Marcus tapped the glass lightly. Stored in the cloud, a private folder only I can access. I realized what he was doing. Marcus wasn't bargaining for safety. He was bargaining for power. Then Marcus dropped the final bomb. "You think Lily planned to flee with the money," he said. "Wrong." I felt my stomach twist. "Then what?" Marcus's voice lowered. "Lily's goal wasn't escape." He smiled slightly. "It was inheritance." I froze. Marcus continued. "Lily wanted Marcus dead. Not arrested, dead." Eleanor's eyes widened. "So the insurance payout lands on the spouse." Marcus nodded slowly. "Exactly, and then Lily takes it from you." My heart pounded. How would she take it? Marcus stared at me like I was stupid. "She'd frame you," he said. "Convict you. Then she controls the narrative, the money, and the freedom." I whispered, "You're describing what's happening now." Marcus smiled. "Yes." Eleanor asked, "How do you know?" Marcus leaned in and said the sentence that made my entire body go cold. "Because Lily sent me the plan before she executed it." My mouth went dry. "Show us." Marcus replied calmly, "I will, but you need to promise something." "What?" I asked. Marcus's eyes locked on mine. "You stop pushing the murder angle on me," he whispered. "You let it become negligence, fraud, anything lighter." I stared at him, disgusted. Then Eleanor's phone buzzed. She answered, listened, and her face changed instantly. "What?" I asked. Eleanor looked at me and spoke slowly. "They just received an anonymous evidence drop," she said. My chest tightened. "From who?" Eleanor swallowed. "From Lily," she said, "and it contains a video file labeled The Real Master." Marcus's smile vanished. For the first time, he looked afraid. Because Lily wasn't exposing me. She was exposing someone else. Someone even worse. The officers played Lily's evidence drop inside the station. One video file. One voice note. One email chain. And within minutes, my entire reality shattered again. The video showed Marcus weeks before Grace died, sitting in his office with someone I didn't recognize at first. The man wore a suit and spoke calmly, like this was ordinary business. Then the camera angle shifted slightly, and the man's face became clear. He was Dr. Haroon Malik, Grace's specialist. The same doctor who had looked me in the eye and said, "We did everything we could." The audio was sharp. Dr. Malik said, "If the trial goes through, the hospital loses control, and your wife becomes a problem." Marcus replied, "Then stop the trial." Dr. Malik answered, "The nurse can handle dosage adjustments. I'll sign the updated protocol." I felt my throat close. Marcus asked, "And the relief fund?" Dr. Malik smiled slightly. "You can funnel it through medical vendors. I'll approve invoices. Nobody questions doctors." I stared at the screen, unable to breathe. Eleanor paused the video. The room was dead silent. Marcus was shaking behind the glass, his face pale. I whispered, "The doctor." Eleanor nodded. "He used Marcus. Marcus used Lily. Lily used Diane, but the doctor opened the door." Then the voice note played. It was Lily. "She thinks I'm the villain," Lily said calmly. "But I only joined because Dr. Malik approached me first. He wanted the child gone because the hospital had already taken donations under the table. A surviving child meant audits." My stomach twisted. So Grace wasn't just unlucky. Grace was dangerous to them. The email chain confirmed it. A hospital executive thread labeled, "Risk Management, Pediatric Case." Grace's name was inside. One line stood out. "If the mother escalates, neutralize." Neutralize. That was the word they used for my daughter's life. The officer in charge stood up. "We're issuing an arrest warrant for Dr. Haroon Malik, now." Marcus suddenly grabbed the phone inside his room. "You can't," he whispered. Eleanor walked closer. "Why not?" Marcus's voice broke. "Because if he goes down, he'll take everyone with him." I stared at Marcus. "Everyone." Marcus swallowed hard. Then he finally said the last truth. "The trial funding was real," he whispered. "Grace could have gotten help, she could have lived." My knees almost gave out. I whispered, "And you stopped it." Marcus nodded, eyes filling with terror. Yes. The officer opened the door. Marcus was dragged out. He screamed, "I didn't plan to love her. I didn't plan to be stuck with a sick child." His words echoed in the corridor like poison. I didn't cry. I couldn't. Because grief had turned into something else. Justice. Hours later, news broke fast. Dr. Malik was arrested leaving the city. Hospital executives were questioned. Bank records were seized. And Lily disappeared before her court date. Vanished like smoke. But her final evidence drop saved me. It cleared my name. And it exposed the chain. Marcus didn't just betray me. He sold Grace. And the people meant to protect her helped him do it. That night, I returned to Grace's grave. I knelt beside it and whispered softly. They're all falling now. My phone buzzed once. A message from an unknown number. Just 5 words. We are not finished yet. I stared at it frozen. Because I knew Lily was still out there. And she wasn't done with me. You have reached the end of the text.